A long-running strike by Canadian foreign service workers is starting to have an economic impact here in Canada. Tourists and foreign students are unable to get the visas they need to come to this country and are starting to cancel their trips. The strike action expanded this week to 15 of our busiest embassies, including Mexico City, Delhi, and Beijing. Michael Couteur has more on the financial fallout and the wide gap in negotiations.
The Prime Minister probably wasn't in his office, but that didn't stop foreign service workers from taking their fight to his doorstep. Talks between the union and government have been stalled for a month, and in the meantime, some estimate it's costing the Canadian economy millions. The tourism industry says it's losing $18 million a week as striking workers slow visa applications. Now, organizers of the children's games in Windsor say some countries have already pulled out because their athletes can't get visas in time. It's also hurting our schools. 20% of McGill University's student body is made up of international students. Without visas, they won't make it in time for the start of the school year. So instead of losing them and the lucrative student fees, McGill is allowing them to start later.
If they can't arrive by the 17th, then what we're doing is we are offering to defer their offer of admission to a later term. Many can start in January, and for those that can't, it'll be beyond that point.
Back in Ottawa, the government and workers remain $4.2 million apart on the question of salary. Both sides want binding arbitration, but workers claim the government is stacking the deck.
It was clear that Minister Clement was not interested in the fair fight.
Tim Edwards says his workers agreed to half of the government's preconditions for arbitration, but says the rest are unreasonable.
Government wanted the arbitrator to place priority on the heart of their negotiating position, the key criteria that they are emphasizing.
Union negotiations are handled by the Treasury Board. In a statement, Tony Clement says the Foreign Service, which is already well paid and a highly sought-after posting, is asking for a hefty wage hike that is neither fair nor reasonable for taxpayers. Now, the union claims they just want to be paid as much as other diplomats doing similar work. But until this dispute is resolved, the Canadian economy will continue to take a hit. Michael Couteur, Global News, Ottawa.